Deep in the desert sands of the United Arab Emirates lies a secret that even the most extravagant billionaires would envy. When you think you've seen it all in the world of luxury car collections, along comes Sheikh Hamad bin Hamdan Al Nahyan, a man whose automotive obsession has reached levels that defy human comprehension. But here's the twist that will blow your mind. The most expensive item in his collection isn't even a car. It's something so outrageous, so completely over the top, that when you discover what it is at the end of this story, you'll understand why they call him the Rainbow Sheikh and why his collection makes every other billionaire's garage look like a used car lot. If you like such videos, please subscribe to the channel and help to get 1,000 subscribers. This will help to improve the content in the future. Thanks in advance. What started as a simple wedding celebration in the 1980s has spiraled into the most jaw-dropping automotive empire on the planet, complete with pyramid-shaped museums, world records that seem impossible to break, and vehicles so massive they require their own zip codes. But the real shocker? The Rainbow Sheikh's latest acquisition cost him more than most countries' annual budgets, and it's not even street legal. Sheikh Hamad bin Hamdan Al Nahyan isn't just another wealthy collector throwing money at expensive toys. He's a member of Abu Dhabi's ruling family who has turned automotive collecting into an art form that borders on madness. His collection doesn't just include cars, it includes moving buildings, floating palaces, and machines that shouldn't exist according to the laws of physics and common sense. The story begins in 1981 when the young sheikh was preparing for his wedding. Instead of buying his bride jewelry or a mansion, he decided to commission something that would make a statement about his love that could be seen from space. He ordered 7 identical Mercedes-Benz W126500 SEL sedans, each painted in a different color of the rainbow with matching interiors. Red with red leather, orange with orange fabric, yellow with golden accents, green with emerald details, blue with sapphire trim, indigo with deep purple elements, and violet with lavender finishing. Each car cost him $85,000, but the custom paint jobs and interior work added another $40,000 per vehicle. The total bill for this romantic gesture? $875,000 in 1980s money, equivalent to over $2.5 million today. But here's where it gets interesting. Those 7 cars were just the beginning of an obsession that would consume the next 4 decades of his life and hundreds of millions of dollars. The Mercedes Rainbow fleet earned him the nickname Rainbow Sheikh, but locals soon discovered that this was just the tip of an automotive iceberg that would grow to mythical proportions. By the early 90s, his collection had grown to over 300 vehicles, housed in a specially built climate-controlled facility that cost $12 million to construct. But the Rainbow Sheikh wasn't content with simply collecting existing cars. He wanted to create automotive monsters that had never been seen before, vehicles that would make people question their sanity when they saw them driving down the highway. The first of these creations appeared in 1994, a Dodge Power Wagon pickup truck that had been scaled up 8 times its original size. This wasn't just a big truck. This was a moving building disguised as a 1950s pickup. Standing nearly 17 feet tall, 35 feet long, and weighing 50 tons, this monster required a team of engineers 6 months to design and build. The interior wasn't just a cab, it was a fully furnished apartment with bedrooms, bathrooms, a kitchen, and a living room. The truck bed contained a smaller, regular-sized pickup truck, because why not put a truck inside a truck? The project cost him $4.8 million, making it the most expensive pickup truck ever created. But the Power Wagon was just a warm-up act. The Rainbow Sheikh had bigger plans, literally. In 2007, he unveiled what he called the Dabian, MAA, the world's largest SUV. Built on the chassis of an Oshkosh M1075 military truck, this 10-wheeled monster measured 35 feet long, 10 feet wide, and 12 feet tall. But calling it an SUV was like calling the Pentagon an office building. The front end was styled to look like a Jeep Wrangler. But at this scale, it looked like a Wrangler that had been hit with a growth ray. The rear incorporated design elements from a Dodge Dart, creating a vehicle that looked like it had escaped from a science fiction movie about giant cars. Under the hood, AID, and hood is a relative term when it covers an engine compartment the size of a small garage, sat a 15.2-litre Caterpillar diesel engine producing 600 horsepower. This engine was designed for industrial equipment, not passenger vehicles. But then again, the Dabian wasn't really a passenger vehicle. It was a statement. The interior could seat 20 people in luxury that would make a private jet jealous. Hand-stitched leather seats, gold-plated fixtures, and a sound system that cost more than most people's houses. The air conditioning system alone required its own diesel generator to power it in the desert heat. The total cost of the Dhabian project? $18.7 million. But for the Rainbow Sheikh, it was worth every penny to hold the official Guinness World Record for the world's largest SUV. But he wasn't done building giants. The Hummer H1X3 project began in 2010 when the Rainbow Sheikh decided that a regular Hummer H1 wasn't quite impressive enough. His solution? Build one that was 3 times larger in every dimension. The result was a vehicle that measured 46 feet long, 20 feet wide, and 21.6 feet tall. To put this in perspective, it was larger than most people's houses. The vehicle required 4 separate diesel engines to move its massive bulk, and the fuel consumption was measured not in miles per gallon, but in gallons per mile. The interior was designed as a 2-story living space, with bedrooms, bathrooms, a kitchen, and a lounge area. The lower level housed the mechanical systems and storage, while the upper level was dedicated to luxury accommodations that would make a 5-star hotel jealous. The engineering challenges were immense. The vehicle had to be built in sections and assembled on-site because no single facility was large enough to house it during construction. The total development time was 3 years, and the cost was $24.6 million. But perhaps the most audacious project in the Rainbow Sheikh's collection is his scaled-up Willys Jeep. This isn't just a big car, it's a 4:1 scale working replica of the classic World War II military vehicle. Standing 20 feet tall and weighing 15 tons, this monster Jeep actually runs and drives, earning it another Guinness World Record as the world's largest motorized model car. The project began as a tribute to the vehicle that started the SUV revolution, but it quickly became an engineering nightmare. How do you scale up a 1940s design while maintaining its functionality? The answer involved custom manufacturing every single component, from the tires to the engine block. The engine is a massive 16-litre diesel that produces 850 horsepower, more power than most race cars. The transmission had to be custom built by a company that normally makes equipment for mining trucks. Even the steering wheel is 6 feet in diameter and requires hydraulic assistance to turn. The total cost of the giant Willys project was $12.3 million, but for the Rainbow Sheikh, it was worth it to add another world record to his collection. These aren't the only giants in his collection. He also owns what he claims is the world's largest caravan, a 5-story mobile palace that weighs 122 tons and measures 66 feet long and 39 feet wide. This rolling mansion contains 8 bedrooms, 8 bathrooms, 4 garages for regular-sized cars, and a water tank that holds 6,340 gallons. The caravan cost $37 million to build and requires a crew of 6 people to operate it safely. It can only travel on specially reinforced roads and requires police escorts whenever it moves. But when you're the Rainbow Sheikh, these are minor inconveniences. Beyond the giants, his collection includes some of the rarest and most expensive cars ever made. He owns all 7 Ferrari 250 GTOs ever produced, cars that are now worth over $40 million each. His collection of Lamborghini Miuras includes the prototype and several one-off custom models that Lamborghini built exclusively for him. The Rainbow Sheikh has a particular fondness for American muscle cars from the 1960s and 70s. His collection includes over 200 Plymouth Barracudas, Dodge Challengers, and Chevrolet Camaros, many of them one-of-one factory prototypes or specially commissioned custom builds. But perhaps most impressive is his collection of military vehicles. He owns over 754 wheel drive vehicles, officially verified by Guinness World Records as the largest collection of its kind. This includes everything from original World War II Jeeps to modern military Humvees, plus vehicles from dozens of other countries' armed forces. Many of these military vehicles have fascinating histories. He owns the personal staff car of a German general from World War II, a vehicle that was captured by Allied forces and eventually made its way into private hands. Another prize is a Soviet-era Gaz-69 that was used by KGB officials during the Cold War. The crown jewel of his military collection might be a one-off armored Mercedes-Benz that was originally built for a Middle Eastern dictator in the 1970s. The car was seized by international authorities when the dictator fell from power, and it eventually ended up at auction, where the Rainbow Sheikh paid $4.8 million for it. Housing this massive collection required building not one but two dedicated museums. The Emirates National Auto Museum, located 45 kilometers south of Abu Dhabi, is housed in a pyramid-shaped building that cost $68 million to construct. The pyramid design wasn't just for show. The shape provides optimal climate control for preserving the vehicles in the harsh desert environment. The museum displays over 200 vehicles from his collection, but this represents only a fraction of what he owns. The building includes restoration workshops, part storage facilities, and living quarters for the full-time staff who maintain the collection. The second facility, the Off-Road History Museum in Sharjah, focuses specifically on four-wheel drive vehicles and off-road equipment. This facility houses 350 vehicles across multiple pavilions, each dedicated to a different era or type of off-road vehicle. Maintaining this collection requires a full-time staff of 43 people, including mechanics, restoration experts, security personnel, and tour guides. The annual operating cost of both museums is estimated at $8.7 million, not including the costs of acquiring new vehicles or funding restoration projects. The Rainbow Sheikh's buying habits are legendary in collector circles. He's known for making impulsive purchases at auctions, often bidding well above market value for vehicles that catch his interest. At a 2019 Barrett-Jackson auction, he spent $14.6 million in a single day, purchasing 17 vehicles, including a 1970 Plymouth Hemi Cuda that he bought for $2.8 million, nearly double its estimated value. But his most expensive single purchase wasn't made at an auction. In 2021, he acquired a 1962 Ferrari 250 GTO from a private collector for an undisclosed sum that automotive industry insiders estimate at over $60 million. This particular GTO was the car that won the 1962 Tour de France automobile, making it not just rare but historically significant. The negotiation for this car took over 2 years and involved intermediaries from 3 different countries. The seller initially refused to part with the car at any price, but the Rainbow Sheikh's persistence and gradually increasing offers eventually wore down the resistance. The final deal reportedly included not just cash, but also the trade of several other rare Ferraris from his collection. Perhaps even more outrageous than his car purchases are his custom modification projects. He commissioned a company in California to build him a street-legal version of the Batmobile from the 1980s Batman movies. The project took 2 years and cost $4.2 million, but the result was a fully functional vehicle that could actually be driven on public roads. The car featured a working jet engine, purely for show, machine guns that fired blanks, and armor plating that could stop small arms fire. The interior was equipped with every piece of high-tech equipment that existed in the 80s, from early GPS systems to primitive cellular phones. Another custom project was his commission for a replica of the car from the movie Grease. But instead of building a simple copy, he had the car enlarged to twice its normal size and equipped it with a modern supercharged V8 engine. The oversized Pink Lady's car cost him $1.8 million and required special permits to drive on public roads. The Rainbow Sheikh's influence on the automotive world extends beyond just collecting. He's commissioned several major manufacturers to build exclusive models just for him. Rolls-Royce created a one-off Phantom that took 3 years to build and incorporated over 2,000 precious stones into its interior design. The car cost him $7.4 million and came with its own armed security team for transport. Mercedes-Benz built him a custom G-Wagon that was enlarged to nearly twice the normal size and equipped with 6 wheels instead of the usual 4. The project required completely re-engineering the vehicle's chassis and drivetrain, and the final product cost $12.9 million. But perhaps his most controversial commission was a street-legal Formula One car. Working with a former F1 team, he had them build a car that met all the technical requirements for Formula One racing, but was modified with lights, turn signals, and other equipment necessary for road use. The project took 4 years and cost $28 million, making it the most expensive street-legal race car ever built. The Rainbow Sheikh's collection has attracted attention from around the world, including several television shows and documentaries. Top Gear featured his giant vehicles in a special episode, with Jeremy Clarkson describing the Nahyan as the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen, and I once drove a car made of cheese. The episode showed Clarkson attempting to drive the giant Willys Jeep, a task that proved nearly impossible for someone accustomed to normal-sized vehicles. It's like trying to drive a building. He complained after nearly crashing into a tree that looked tiny compared to the massive vehicle. National Geographic produced a documentary about his collection titled The Car Collector, which aired in 2018 and gave viewers a behind-the-scenes look at the museums and the process of maintaining such an enormous collection. But not all the attention has been positive. Environmental groups have criticized the collection for its enormous carbon footprint and resource consumption. The giant vehicles consume fuel at rates that would be shocking even for industrial equipment, and the air conditioning systems required to maintain the museums in the desert climate use enormous amounts of electricity. The Rainbow Sheikh has responded to these criticisms by investing in renewable energy systems for his museums and commissioning electric versions of some of his custom vehicles. His latest project is an electric version of the Nahyan, which he claims will be the world's largest electric SUV when completed in 2025. This electric giant will be powered by a battery pack that weighs more than most cars and will require a charging station that draws more power than a small town. The estimated cost of the electric conversion project is $45 million, but for the Rainbow Sheikh, it's a worthwhile investment in environmental responsibility. The security measures required to protect such a valuable collection are extraordinary. Both museums are equipped with military-grade security systems, including motion sensors, infrared cameras, and armed guards. The most valuable vehicles are stored in underground bunkers that can withstand direct missile strikes. Insurance for the collection is provided by a consortium of companies led by Lloyd's of London, and the annual premiums are estimated to exceed $12 million. Some of the most valuable pieces are considered uninsurable at any price due to their irreplaceable nature. The Rainbow Sheikh's influence on car values cannot be overstated. When he expresses interest in a particular model or marque, prices in the collector market typically increase by 20 to 30% within months. His purchase of the $60 million Ferrari 250 GTO immediately caused the values of all other GTOs to rise, with some experts estimating the total impact at over $200 million across the entire GTO market. Dealers and auction houses now track his interests carefully, and some have been accused of artificially inflating prices when they know he's bidding on a particular lot. At one auction, a car that was expected to sell for $500,000 ended up going for $2.3 million in a bidding war with the Rainbow Sheikh. But perhaps the most impressive aspect of his collection isn't the size or the cost, it's the attention to detail and historical preservation. Every vehicle in his collection is maintained to museum quality standards, with original parts sourced from around the world and restoration work performed by craftsmen who specialize in specific marques and eras. His Ferrari 250 GTO collection includes complete documentation of each car's racing history, ownership records, and restoration details. He spent over $15 million just on research and documentation, creating what many consider the most comprehensive archive of Ferrari racing history in private hands. The Rainbow Sheikh has also become a patron of automotive education, establishing scholarship programs at several universities for students studying automotive engineering and design. His museums offer educational programs for local schools, and he's donated over $30 million to automotive preservation efforts around the world. But despite all the attention and accolades, the Rainbow Sheikh remains something of a mystery. He rarely gives interviews and is seldom seen in public except at major automotive events. Those who have met him describe a man who is genuinely passionate about automotive history and engineering, not just someone showing off his wealth. His staff speaks of him with genuine respect, noting his detailed knowledge of every vehicle in his collection and his hands-on approach to restoration projects. He's known to spend hours in the workshops, working alongside mechanics and restoration specialists on particularly challenging projects. The future of the collection is carefully planned. The Rainbow Sheikh has established a foundation that will maintain the museums and collection after his death, ensuring that future generations will be able to experience these automotive marvels. He's also working on plans for a third museum that will focus specifically on electric and hybrid vehicles, acknowledging the changing direction of the automotive industry. But now, after all these incredible vehicles and impossible projects, we come to the revelation that will truly boggle your mind. The most expensive item in the Rainbow Sheikh's collection isn't a car at all, it's his custom-built car carrier. This isn't just any transport truck. It's a moving palace designed specifically to transport his most valuable vehicles in absolute luxury. The carrier cost him $87 million to build and looks like something from a science fiction movie. It's essentially a 5-story mobile building that can carry 24 cars simultaneously while providing luxury accommodations for a traveling party of 30 people. The vehicle includes a full restaurant, meeting rooms, sleeping quarters, and even a helicopter landing pad on the roof. The engineering required to build this mobile skyscraper was staggering. The chassis alone weighs 90 tons and required a custom suspension system that cost more than most supercars. The vehicle is powered by 4 separate engines and has its own electrical power plant to run all the onboard systems. But here's the truly insane part. This $87 million mobile palace is just one of 3 identical units he commissioned. The other 2 are stationed in Europe and North America, allowing him to transport his cars anywhere in the world in the same luxury he enjoys at home. Each carrier requires a crew of 12 people to operate and can only travel on specially designated routes due to its size and weight. When all 3 carriers are deployed simultaneously, the Rainbow Sheikh essentially has his own mobile automotive empire that can set up anywhere in the world within 48 hours. This is the true scope of the Rainbow Sheikh's automotive obsession, a collection so vast and complex that it requires its own fleet of mobile museums to properly transport and display. It's not just about owning cars. It's about creating an entire automotive universe that exists solely for his enjoyment and the amazement of those lucky enough to witness it. The total value of his collection, including the carriers and museum facilities, is estimated by automotive appraisers at over $1 billion, making it not just the largest private car collection in the world, but one of the most valuable private collections of any kind. And yet, according to those close to him, the Rainbow Sheikh shows no signs of slowing down. His latest project involves commissioning a replica of the moon rover used in the Apollo missions, scaled up to street-legal size and equipped with a luxury interior. Because when you've conquered Earth's roads with the world's largest vehicles, why not set your sights on lunar transportation? The Rainbow Sheikh has proven that with enough passion, resources, and complete disregard for conventional thinking, it's possible to push the boundaries of what automotive collecting can be. His collection isn't just a display of wealth, it's a testament to human creativity and the endless possibilities that exist when someone refuses to accept that it can't be done. In a world of practical cars and sensible transportation, the Rainbow Sheikh stands as a reminder that sometimes the most important thing about a vehicle isn't where it can take you, but how it makes you feel when you're behind the wheel. And if that feeling requires an $87 million car carrier to properly experience, well, that's just the price of automotive dreams made manifest. If you like such videos, please subscribe to the channel.